Hey y'all, welcome back into the Alabama Football Report. I'm Lena Bond and I got a ton of news and rumors straight from Tuscaloosa. Plus later I'll be breaking down the 2018 key position battles for Alabama football. But as we always do, let's get into the news first. And Alabama has been busy hitting the recruiting trail. There's been a ton of offers handed out over the last week for 2019, 2020, and beyond. You can see some of the names here. Mookie Cooper, take an eye out for him. He's being compared a lot to Trent Richardson. As we take a look at the next slate of guys, quarterback CJ Dixon, he's not rated, but he's a guy in the 2020 class that Nick Saban really seems to like. And as we move on to 2021 and 2022, I'll be talking about offensive tackle Goodwin here in a bit. He's a massive kid. He's actually just in the 8th grade, but there's a reason why Nick Saban and co are looking at him so early. Let's get into our next bit of news here. A wide receiver target, one of the top ones for the Alabama Crimson Tide, has named Alabama in his top 5. Now, this is really good news for the Crimson Tide. Jameson Williams is a total stud. He's a blue chip, and he's been looking at Alabama, Nebraska, Oregon, Ohio State, and UCLA, so quite a few Pac-12 schools in there. The Buckeyes are the current 24/7 crystal ball favorite, and he will return for an official visit the weekend of June 22nd. Other visits on the radar include Oregon on June 27th through the 28th, Nebraska, UCLA on September 15th, and he has visited all of his top schools at least one, with the exception of the Huskers, and he's been to Tuscaloosa quite a few times. He's 6'2", 160 pounds, and he is ranked the number 26 receiver and the 146th overall prospect in the class. Let's get into our last bit of news here. 4-star defensive end Justin Eboigbe, he is committed to the Alabama Crimson Tide on Monday. He announced his commitment to Alabama over Auburn, Clemson, Georgia, Tennessee, among many other offers. The Georgia product made up his mind on the Tide last week during a visit, saying going back to Bama on Monday and really sitting down with Coach Saban, Coach Gaddis, Coach Lupoy, and Coach Cool, and just talking about the best opportunity and where they see me fitting in their scheme, and then coming to the realization about being developed by the best, and Alabama is the best. Realizing that made me come to the decision that Alabama is the place to be for me. Now, at 6'4", 263 pounds, Eboigbe is rated the number 10 overall strong side defensive end and the 126th overall player in the country. And with his commitment, Alabama's number 1 class now has 16 pledges on board for the class of 2019. All right, guys, before we get into our rumors, I just want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, Autolist. Looking for a new or used car? Are you tired of browsing a million sites? Then go to Autolist.com. They have the largest sorts of inventory on the web, or you can check out their top-rated app for iPhone or Android. All right, guys, let's get into our rumor portion of the show. But first, you're going to want to know what my rumor scale is. So we're going to go ahead and bring it up. 0 Bear Bryant hats. Well, that's fake news, okay? 1 Bear Bryant hat. That's Paul shouting out Phyllis from Mulga, which means it's pretty unlikely. 2 Bear Bryant hats. People are talking. We can't confirm, but where there is smoke, there is fire. 3 Bear Bryant hats. More probable than not, but our sources in Tuscaloosa are yet to confirm. 4 Bear Bryant hats. That's Roll Tide. It's fact. It's news. All right, guys, so into the rumor portion now. Brandon Turnage, a 4-star athlete. He recently committed to the Alabama Crimson Tide, and he's still good on this pledge. Well, I'm giving this one 4 Bear Bryant hats. Roll Tide. So Turnage committed to Alabama back in December and returned to Tuscaloosa last weekend for the first time since his decision. Despite not visiting for quite some time, Turnage says he feels better about his decision to commit to the Crimson Tide now than he did last winter. Just going in, I wanted to see if they still showed me that same love when I committed, and they did. In fact, they actually showed me more. Despite being rated as an athlete, it's safety where Turnage projects with the Tide, a position he likes to play. Turnage is one of 3 defensive backs committed to UA's 2019 number 1 ranked class. Let's get to rumor number 2 here. Was Nakobe Dean's official visit? Did that help the Crimson Tide trying to get a pledge from him? Well, I'm giving this one 2 Bear Bryant hats. People are talking. So the nation's number 1 inside linebacker Nakobe Dean had his first official visit to Tuscaloosa this weekend. The trip marked the Mississippi product's 3rd time on campus this year. However, Alabama linebacker and fellow Memphis area native Joshua McMillan played host to Dean throughout the entire weekend. The 5-star backer says his time spent with players learning about the program through their experiences was the best part of the trip. Another memorable moment of the visit was touring the engineering program on Friday. Dean said it went great. Dean Carr made the engineering tour look great and interesting, way better than any other engineering tour I have experienced. At 6 foot, 216 pounds, Dean is rated the #1 inside linebacker in the country and the number 20 overall player for the class of 2019. All right, let's get to our third rumor here, and this is not a fun one, Tide fans. So Talia Tagovailoa, did he take a visit to an SEC rival over the weekend? Well, I hate to say it, but I'm giving this one 4 Bear Bryant hats. It's fact. So Tagovailoa has continued to hear from a couple of other SEC schools announcing his commitment to Alabama nearly 2 months ago. And over the weekend, he took a trip to Knoxville to participate in one of the Tennessee Vols camps. Last Thursday, Talia said that he was making the trip to Tennessee because his father, quote, wants me to go to the Tennessee camp and keep my options open. And the Vols have not given up on him since he announced his commitment to Alabama. He said first-year coach Tennessee coach Jeremy Pruitt, who previously served as Alabama's defensive coordinator, and offensive coordinator Tyson Helton have stayed in contact with him and his family over the past several months. Quote, they're telling me they're going to develop me to be an NFL quarterback and get me ready for the NFL and also get my education good. So that's 2 good things. But we're not done there. LSU has also been pushing to flip Talia, and Talia said that he would love the opportunity to play against Tua if it presented itself. So I want to know from you guys, do you still think Talia will commit with Alabama? If you think so, if you think this LSU Tennessee Vol nonsense is nothing to deal with, go ahead and give me a heart for yes, and if no, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. All right, those were our first 3 rumors. We got 3 more to knock into, so let's go ahead and get into it. Next one, did UA offer a massive 2022 recruit? Literally, yes. So I'm giving this one 4 Bear Bryant hats. I'm talking about Goodwin, that 2022 8th grader that I was talking about a little bit earlier. His name is Kiyaunta Goodwin. He's 6'7", 360 pounds. So it's no surprise that Alabama has offered him, except this one caveat. Like I said, he just finished the 8th grade. He's a rising high school freshman, and he's yet to play a single varsity snap at a private school in Louisville, Kentucky. When talking about his skills, he said, once I get my hands on them, it's all over, said Goodwin. Nobody wants these hands. Goodwin also said that doctors have told him he's not finished growing, that he could top out at over 7 feet. So wouldn't you love to see this kid in crimson red? Let's get into our 5th rumor now. The nation's #1 quarterback in the class of 2020. Is his dad pro Alabama? Well, I'm giving this one 2 Bear Bryant hats. People are talking. So David Ugalele didn't make the trip to Tuscaloosa with his son DJ, but he sure did make sure to call right after the visit was over. And he said his first trip to Tuscaloosa exceeded all expectations. The biggest eye-opener for him was the amount of athletes in the program, saying, quote, he walked into the weight room and said, Dad, I thought I was looking at defensive ends and defensive tackles, but they were linebackers. I can tell from he was telling me that why he wanted to go to the #1 school is because all of the athletes there, they're just so big, they're just so ready. And David's dad said, why wouldn't I want my son to go there? I know they have a couple of 2019 recruits already at quarterback, but that will not deter my son from going to the school. We're willing to wait their turn and willing to battle. And if he decided to go to Alabama, I wouldn't have a problem with it because I always believe my son needs to be at the place where he's going to be challenged by the best. And boy, oh boy, I think we can all agree that is the Alabama Crimson Tide football program. Let's get into our last rumor of the day. And is Alabama, did they offer another 2019 quarterback in a very packed class already? I'm giving this one 4 Bear Bryant's hats. It's fact, it's news. So Cornelius Brown, he's a 6'5", 180-pound senior who plays for former Alabama quarterback Andrew Zoe, visited Alabama on Tuesday and received an offer from the Crimson Tide. Brown projects as a quarterback in college, so the offer is very curious at first glance, with UA already having a very packed class at that position. Alabama isn't Brown's first offer. He also holds offers from UAB, Florida Atlantic, Rutgers, Alabama State, and Bowling Green, among others. So the Alabama offer clearly shows that he is a recruiting star on the rise. He completed 157 of 281 passes for 2,300 yards and 25 touchdowns last season, and then threw for 344 yards and 2 touchdowns in the spring game against Chilton County. Now, Brown doesn't have a current timetable for when he plans to commit, but if he does choose Bama, we sure have another quarterback battle brewing in the class of 2019. So we currently already have Talia Tagovailoa, Paul Tyson, the great-grandson of Bear Bryant, of course. And then if Cornelius Brown was to go ahead and make a commitment to Alabama, it's really hard to say who would be that starting position. Brown's obviously, like I said, a star on the rise, so be sure to keep it right here for updates on that 2019 potential quarterback battle.